Hi everyone, my name is Keith Stubbs and I'm the Chair of Trustees for the Stoke-on-Trent Foodbank charity, and I'm here today to deliver the annual report as part of our unusual, you might say, annual general meeting. We've never had an AGM where nobody has turned up. We've always had 30 to 40 people and we've been delighted with that, but obviously because of government restrictions we can't do that. So because we need to have an AGM, because we need to send out an annual report, this is it. And I thank you for watching this video today. When you received the video, you should have also received the annual report document and also a copy of the annual accounts. So hopefully you'll have them in front of you today. But we're here in the Stoke-on-Trent Foodbank warehouse, the old Methodist Church at Blurton, which is now the warehouse, which I'll comment on later on in the report. But I couldn't think of a better place to share with you just a few of the salient points from the annual report. I'll just speak for a few minutes about some of these key points, and then I will hand over to our Senior Finance Officer and she will give you a short presentation on the annual accounts. And then when she's finished, she'll hand back to me and I'll just wrap everything up. So hopefully it should run smoothly, and hopefully you'll still be listening after 10 minutes and not switched off. So for those that don't know, for those that are not too aware of what the Stoke-on-Trent Foodbank is all about, we are about feeding those who find themselves in temporary crises across the city. We are a registered charity and we were launched in May 2012. So we've been going for just over 8 years. Again, for those that don't know, the Stoke-on-Trent Foodbank is now a part of, and has been for many years, the National Trussell Trust Network. The Trussell Trust Network, they oversee nationally across the UK about 450 food banks like the Stoke-on-Trent Foodbank. We are just one of 450 and we follow their guidelines, we work to their systems, and we even have a regional representative that comes and shares with ourselves, meets with Corrine, our operations manager, and they offer advice and guidance, and they bring us up to speed with the national issues. So I'm glad that we're a part of the national network. As a small charity, like all charities, the ongoing burden is funding and making sure that enough funds come into the charity, and there's no difference with the Stoke-on-Trent Foodbank charity. Income is primarily in the form of individual donations, corporate donations, funding applications, and finally fundraising events, which in the last 3 or 4 months we haven't done much of for the obvious reasons. The aims. I want to read out a short paragraph of what the aim of the food bank is across Stoke-on-Trent. What's our purpose? Why are we here? And it says these words in our memorandum of articles. It says, "We're here for the prevention and relief of poverty in Stoke-on-Trent and the surrounding area by providing food to local people who are in need of emergency supplies, and by such other means as the trustees deem appropriate." So that's basically saying that we're here to feed the hungry and we're here to help those in need and to take them off that downward spiral and move them in a better direction. Every individual who is in need of emergency food, because we're a Trussell Trust Food Bank, we expect them to turn up with a voucher. So because we're in partnership with many referral agencies, frontline organisations across the city, these organisations, if they are dealing with a person in need, then they will determine that they are in need of a food voucher as well. They'll fill out the voucher, and if that person redeems that voucher, any one of our 16 food bank distribution centres across the city, then they will receive enough food, they'll receive their food parcel, and that will feed them and their family for 3 days plus. And I'm pleased to say that as an organisation, as a small charity across the city, we're now fundamentally partnered with key groups across the city that address the issues of poverty and hardship. I'm glad that we're a part of that across the city. And finally, just to sum up on page 2, activity. What was the activity last year during the reporting period from the 1st of April 2019 through to the 31st of March 2020? Because we've had lots of support from schools, from businesses, from individuals, and the massive support that we get from over 250 volunteers, we were able to continue and to meet the growing demand. And the growing demand meant that last year, this reporting period, we provided 13,995 three-day emergency food parcels. And that was a record year. That was 9% up on the previous year. The previous year, 12 months ago at the previous AGM, I reported the figure of just over 12,800 emergency food parcels. And when I reported them figures, that was a record year. So this year, with the 13,000, well, just shy of 14,000, that's 9% up. So the demand, sadly, is growing. So in the remaining few minutes before I hand on to the financial report, I just want to highlight a few of the key points now on the section entitled Summary of Achievements and Developments during 2019-2020 operating period. Two key priorities that trustees and the team has. One is ensuring that we continue to meet our financial obligations, meeting our overheads, our costs, and so on. And the second priority is that we have sufficient food to continue to give out to all those in need, bearing in mind that the need and the demand is growing. So two priorities, financial priority and making sure that we have enough food. I'm here in the warehouse, and as you can see, there are crates around me, but there are many, many more crates in this warehouse, and I'm thankful for that. If we go on to item number 7, I want to acknowledge on behalf of everyone at the Stoke-on-Trent Foodbank our sincere thanks to Councillor Lillian Dodd. A couple of years ago, many of you will know that Councillor Dodd was the Lord Mayor for 12 months during 2018-2019, and during her 12 months in office, one of the charities that she chose to support was the Stoke-on-Trent Foodbank charity. And I'm pleased to say that during her 12 months in office, she did a tremendous job at raising money, and she did a fantastic job at raising the profile of the food bank. And I'm pleased to say that we received 2 lots of money from Councillor Dodd. From the Lord Mayor's charity, we received an initial cheque of £12,600, and then later in the year, we received a cheque of £1,363, bringing us to a total of just shy of £14,000, which is absolutely amazing. So if you're watching this, Councillor Dodd, many thanks. And if we go to item 9, I want to say that last year we started to have funding on a regular basis from the Macari Foundation, set up by Lou Macari. And I'm pleased to say that is still in place. And so I want to register our thanks to Lou Macari for the ongoing support that he gives to the food bank. And I want to say thank you to Lou Macari for the support that he gives to many people in this city, many people who are in need. So thank you, Lou. Early last year, the Stoke South Methodist Circuit, who were in charge of this building, the old Methodist Church, they made the decision that they were going to grant the food bank a 5-year lease so that we could use this as our main warehouse. And I want to acknowledge our thanks once again for that decision. And as a result of that, we were able to access Community Investment Fund to improve this building. So in the last 12 months, during this reporting period, we've had a new flat roof, we've had the electrics have been sorted out and upgraded and improved. We've had a new ramp, so when the van delivers the food and we have to move the food from the van into the building, into the warehouse, we've got a nice ramp which makes that work better. We've got a new kitchen, we've got new security lights, we've had new roller shutters on the external doors to improve security. We spent quite a bit of money on the building, and I'm grateful to the Stoke South Methodist Circuit for that. If you look at item 11, It talks about the warehouse, and it talks about the fact that this is the hub. This is the centre of all activity that takes place with receiving stock, processing the stock, sending the stock out. And the two figures there, the total food that was donated to the food bank by the good people of Stoke-on-Trent amounted to 105.6 tonnes. But you'll see there that it actually says it was 3% down on the previous year. So we've registered that, that's on our radar, and we've acknowledged that, and we've got to work doubly hard to make sure that we improve the amount of stock that we receive. And you'll see, secondly, the total amount that was distributed during this reporting period was 105.5 tonnes, 1% up on the previous year. The main thing is that we received slightly more food coming in than went out, which means that this place isn't running out of food. And I want to say a big thank you to all who make the warehouse work. Your hard work is recognised. Following harvest last year and the festive season, we received so much extra food during those 3 or 4 months, October, November, December, that we were unable to really cope with all that influx of food into the warehouse. So we managed to strike up a partnership with Steelite International, based, as many of you will know, in Newcastle Street, Burslem. And I want to say thank you to Steelite and to their managers for allowing us to use one of their warehouses. They've got a huge warehouse in Chesterton, and probably about 600 crates are currently up there with a good sell use by date. So without that, we'd have really struggled. The Trussell Trust continues to promote the Stoke-on-Trent Foodbank as a centre of excellence, which is great, and we're proud of that. And they see us as a centre of excellence for a number of reasons: strong governance, partnership working, we're proactive in solving problems and challenges, and as a result, they have invited us to be a part of a national strategic consultation group. That's hard to say. We are now one of 20 food banks, 20 Trussell Trust food banks that are part of this strategic consultation group. And this consultation group examines best practice. It looks at how food banks should work efficiently and effectively, and it looks at how we can become stronger partners with our own local partners in our local area. And it means that we can share and work and address the issues of poverty and hardship in a more effective way. And we are now a pathfinder food bank, whereby we are looking at introducing a national strategy, and we will be challenging government, we'll be challenging the authorities, and I quote, challenging the structural economic issues that lock people into poverty. And we will be campaigning nationally now through this strategic consultation group. We'll be campaigning to end the need for food banks. In 5 years' time, we don't want food banks. We want to see food banks surplus to requirements because of national networks which are in place and other things. And that's our dream, the dream to end the need for food banks. Harvest Festival 2019 last year, I'm pleased to say that it did result in 2% increase in the amount of food that we receive from schools across the city, and that's absolutely brilliant, and I thank all those schools that supported us. However, it is our campaign and our mission to try and get on board with more schools. My understanding is that across Stoke-on-Trent there are about 120 schools, and we get support regularly each year, each harvest, from around about 50 to 55 schools. So I do see that there's scope there to increase our partnership links with more schools. And so any head teachers or any school managers or any governors, school governors, watching this video or reading this report, item 23, please consider your school supporting the food bank, because the need is going up year on year, and we need all the support we can get at harvest time from all schools if possible. Item 26, halfway down that paragraph, in addition to to the £50,000 that we received from the Community Investment Fund to improve this building, we also received funding from an organisation called the Awards for All to help us to employ a driver, because without a driver we can't receive the food and collect the food, and we can't distribute the food. We continue to have great support from the Co-op Community Fund. We have great support from ASDA, and their funding helps to staff our staffing costs, and finally £2,000 from the Trussell Trust. So we've been blessed. But at this point now, I want to take a breath and have a break, and I want to hand over to our Senior Finance Officer, who's going to share for a few minutes about the annual side of things, the annual finance side of things. So over to you.
Hello, I'm Mary-Ann Rapson, the Senior Finance Officer at Stoke-on-Trent Foodbank. This is the finance report for the financial year ending the 31st of March 2020. I'm not going to go into great detail in this report. If you're watching this video, you should have access to a copy of the final accounts for the year where you can find the detail. This year's final accounts show that we are in a far stronger financial position than we were 2 years ago. The trustees and the staff have worked hard to ensure that we meet the increasing demands on the charity and that we are in a more stable position. We have gone from a deficit on the statement of financial activities of £12,000 2 years ago to almost breaking even last year to a surplus income of £47,000. This is thanks to the generosity and support of many organisations, churches, church circuits and individuals. Some of the organisations to mention are the Macquarie Foundation, the Stoke-on-Trent City Council, the Council Community Investment Fund, the Lord Mayor's Charity, ASDA, Tesco, the Co-op, the MSE Charity via the Trussell Trust, Sodexo and local councillors. We also received a total of over £9,000 from individuals fundraising or donating through the Just Giving website, and we had over £29,000 through bank deposits, cheques and cash donations. We have seen an increase in both ways of giving compared to the previous year. There has been a slight uplift in the percentage of unrestricted funds, which provides the trustees with the flexibility needed to ensure that they can use the funds as they see fit according to an ever-changing economic environment. We believe that this will be important as we go forward, particularly in light of the current COVID-19 crisis and the long-term financial impacts predicted. We are confident that the food bank is now in a sustainable position for the foreseeable future. So thank you and very well done to the Trussell Trust, the hard-working volunteers, the trustees, the donors and grant givers, and the dedicated staff. It's an amazing team effort. If you have any questions about the accounts, then please email them to info@stokeontrent.foodbank.org.uk and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thanks for watching.
Finally, I couldn't leave things without just saying just a few words about the difficult situation that we've all been faced with since March this year. The pandemic, it's affected your life, it's affected my life, it's affected all of our lives, and it's certainly affected the way in which the Stoke-on-Trent Foodbank has had to operate. And I'm pleased with the fact that I think we've responded well during this crisis. Since the Prime Minister's announcement in March for the national lockdown, we managed to keep going most of our distribution centres across the city, including the warehouse, even though we had to put alternative arrangements in place to make sure that we were COVID-19 safeguarded, both for our volunteers, for our staff, and of course for our clients. As we speak, risk assessments are now being produced by the team in order to plan for the time when eventually the restrictions are relaxed, and that will mean that our clients will eventually, the clients that we're serving will eventually be able to come back into our distribution centres, and they will be able to care for them in a more direct way, face to face. I look forward to the time where this can finally resume, but currently that's not the case, and we have to live with that. So on behalf of all the trustees, I want to say a huge thank you to all concerned for the support that all the people have offered, all the volunteers, the staff, the team, the trustees have offered over the last 6 months to make sure that the food bank kept going during this very difficult time. So a huge thank you to everybody. That's all I want to say. Thank you for bearing with me and listening in this year. I'm conscious that some individuals might have some questions, some comments, some feedback as to how we've delivered this annual general meeting, this annual report. And when I leave the stage, if you like, you will see an image of the food bank logo, and also our email address will be there for you to send your comments and send your queries. So many thanks for listening, and I'll look forward to seeing you all face to face next time. Thank you.